And we are here with Bitter Belief. First
yo.
question, how did you get so good looking?
Believe it or not, I wake up like this.
Straight off the Instagram.
Mate, fucking awesome episode. Just flowed well.
Yeah.
Just like your rhymes.
Yeah.
That's very not cool. The way to me to speak. It's trying to be like flowing.
Flow like your rhymes and rap and
I know
rhythm.
how the rappers speak, darling.
Mate, it was a fucking awesome episode. That was great. I love it when we can talk openly about a range of topics, including parenting, you know, your passions, and even the vax came up for something different.
Facts.
Yeah.
Man, like you said, time always disappears here talking with you guys at Seamless Stuff. So
Yeah.
thank you
It's fucking awesome. Today's episode is brought to you by Raunchy Brewing.
Okay.
It actually tastes good.
It's actually good.
It's awesome. It's going to be at the show tonight,
Yep.
our Fringe preview show, which you're going to miss out on.
And because it's going to go out late. But at some point, our horse might race and Lucky Duck racing as well.
Yeah.
So we'll find out soon.
Yeah, no, it seems to be trialing well, apparently. So ready to go.
Shout out to all the Patreons. There's 15 extra episodes on Patreon if people want to listen to them as well.
Sick.
So thanks, Bitter.
Nice.
And
Anytime, boys, anytime.
let's get hard.
Let's get hard.
Welcome to Hard Yarns Podcast.
I am fucking fat.
Anything Chris White says, please disregard it.
5D is actually a state of being. It's a unity consciousness.
That was Hard Yarns with me, Frankie Rose. So I'm going to throw it over to your co-host.
Daniel Delby.
And Cameron Brand.
I would do this and then I'd gong.
Free in attendance for the millions listening at home. Let's get hard.
Calvin, yes, they loved it.
No?
Yeah, that's my last one that I edited.
Nice.
Yeah, so fucking stoked that's done.
Really?
Yeah, I hate
I
it.
thought it'd be a good little wicket. Like,
Yeah, it's fine. It's good money, but I hate it.
You've always got it up your sleeve in case you need to pick up something here and there.
Well, this is what I just had this conversation with Delby. I just said, maybe I should just like up my amount of money that I'm paying for. Like, okay, give me $8,000, and then it's full fucking worth my time of not doing
Cash,
something I don't
not
like.
here.
Yeah.
Here,
But
no cash.
But I feel like
No
that's
cash.
going against what I said I was going to do.
Yeah, okay.
I said I didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm fucking sticking to it. It's like karma.
Follow it.
Maybe the water bottle.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
I can move it out the way. Yeah.
Oh, for vision. Oh, yeah.
Have you got
It's all good.
You got the mic in front of you?
Hey.
Yeah.
We're joined by young Jamie, my brother. He's doing the sound again. You might remember him.
Look at him producing
from
as
his
well.
podcasts, such as the John Elliott one, the biggest podcast that we've done.
Oh, yeah. Young Jamie.
Young Jamie.
Did you have a little cameo in that one, did you?
He was producer.
He did producing for
Mini
us.
Delby's mini quiz.
Yeah, we just did another one that's going to be
Fucking
good.
don't talk about that.
To zip.
Worst quiz of all time.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Fucking horrendous.
Well, got another one. So, beauty. Keep an eye out for that one. The one I lose, I won't edit. I just went, God, I don't have enough time, Delby.
Yeah, you dog.
Before we get on to you, Bitter, Delby, you just got back from Bali. You don't look great, mate.
Thanks, bruz.
You look.
I'm bloated.
You got to perform tonight as well.
Yeah.
How are you going to go do that?
I'm a professional. Man.
I've done it before.
I'm struggling to put the stand in stand up.
Oh, when did you get back?
Tuesday midnight.
Okay.
But like barley belly twice, bloated as fuck. My back, I think I'd had the jab in my back. So that's fucking just gone crazy. So, but yeah, it was good bringing Cam McLaren over for the first time. Mate, so funny.
Good.
A Patreon episode. We got 2 barley eps on there. One is just Cam McLaren's first time.
In Bali.
Yeah, just after 3 days we did a pod, and like it's so funny, man, because he couldn't. Like he's gonna hate me saying this, but we talk about it on the pod because I showed him when we got there. I was like, "This is how you change money." So I had Aussie dollars, and we went to a money changer.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "You go to these ones because they won't fuck you over."
Yeah.
So I've showed him to change cash. Now this is completely understandable because I've found out I'm not very good at communicating when I think people know
What you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just assume they know, and it's something I got to keep checking myself on. So like,
Or everyone else, just be better.
Yeah.
Just do better.
Yeah.
Catch up.
be
Just
better.
be better.
So like 2 days later, he's run out of Balinese money, so he needed to get money. So I'm like, oh, bring your card to an ATM and just get money out.
It's just shit exchange rate that way.
Yeah,
It
but
is,
It,
but-
it didn't matter
Yeah.
because he just needed his money. And he's come back and he's freaking out. He's like, I've been to 3 fucking ATMs. None of them are working. They won't give me the money. I'm like, I don't understand. He's like, I go, what'd you do? He goes, I put it in and I tried to put the cash that I wanted out and it wouldn't work. I'm like, that doesn't make sense, man. I was like, where'd you go? He's like, I went to the Commonwealth once and it didn't work. And
He's
like,
putting it in Aussie dollars.
mate, so then he's on the phone to Shin and there's this new card called Wise, which is wicked. Christian, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a card called Wise where you put Aussie money on and then it converts at a pretty good exchange rate into rupiah and then it acts like a bank card in rupiah. So for no fees. So he's on the phone and as he's on the phone to Shin, I hear him going, it won't give me Aussie dollars. And I go, hang on, cunt. What do you mean? He's like, I just won't. I needed to get the money and take it to the money exchange. And I go, what?
Oh, no.
He goes, it's not giving me Aussie dollars. I'm like, we're in Indonesia, bro. I just started laughing and he started getting hell mad because I was laughing at him. He's like, I don't fucking know. And I was like, sorry, man, I don't mean to laugh. But the ATMs aren't going to give you Australian dollars. They're going to give you rupiah.
In your defense, I feel like you probably should have known that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's his first time ever outside of WA.
Wow.
And it's got Commonwealth Bank. So
How old is he?
33 or 32.
Damn.
Yeah, but like, I guess you would expect using an Aussie bank card at Commonwealth, then you should get Aussie dollars. But I was like, brother, like we're in Indonesia. You just put in how much rupiah you want and it takes it out. He goes, I fucking thought you had to get the Aussie dollars, then go to the money exchange and exchange it. I was like,
Did you?
that's my fault. I should have explained. You don't have to get that and then exchange.
Yeah.
Because if the only way you've known is to get Aussie dollars and change the money,
Everywhere else.
then that that's
Your whole
my
life,
bad.
that's
Yeah.
Nah. Cam, idiot. I love you, Cam, but where are you there? You're an idiot.
And then he's never had a massage before. So we talk about this on the Patreon app. So people that want to listen, it's $5 and you can listen to it. But he talks about getting a massage for the first time. And I deliberately just go, I'm not going to tell you what happens. I just want you to experience it. So when they like pull your pants down to do your glute, he started freaking. He's like,
I'm thinking they're asking for a
yeah,
rubber
he's like, I
tug.
don't know. He's like, and when she said to roll over, he goes, I don't know. Is this like normal? And then he's got me saying, I'll just let you experience it. So yeah, and we were right next to each other as well. So we go into.
Hey, that doesn't stop it.
Yeah. So,
Not that I know.
well, I finished him. So I just leant over.
Did she try to? What did
No,
they say?
this was a legitimate happy ending.
Banana massage.
Banana massage, yeah. I went there like at the end of last year's Fringe, and I got the only guy that was working. Like I got the guy working. I was like, "Fuck, man!" And then he gave me a wicked massage. And I was yeah. So I gave him a happy ending. It was so good.
Yeah.
But so we just chilled out a little bit, and then did whitewater rafting.
Yeah.
Collected a bunch of soil samples to fuck up our cow industry.
I've never done the whitewater rafting.
It's not whitewater.
Yeah, and it just seems
It's-
like, is it good?
It's very scenic.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's good.
If me and Cam were a couple, it would be brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
you're just cruising and you're looking at this
got
beautiful
full,
jungle.
Well, yeah,
full
that's
Jurassic
good.
Park feel.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Welcome to Jurassic. But also, like, the guide, he tries, you know, when you're a kid and your parents are like, oh, here comes the airplane. He does that. Like, you go on and, you go into like the
Here
little.
comes the Pachycephalosaurus.
No. He's like, if you go over like the littlest little rapids, he's like, oh. Like, he's trying
Yeah, he's
to
doing the
laugh
same,
at him.
I've done it before, and
Yeah.
he's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to add to the experience
Yeah.
to make it scarier.
Yeah.
So,
And then like they hustle you halfway through, you get out. But him and Bintang.
So you'd be like that family, like who's been a couple of times, like, oh, it's all part of it. It's just,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
he's just we're bigging it up, and then you go down. It's a real bad down. He's like, oh, I don't think he's fucking playing anymore. Yeah, that's. It seems like something I'd like to do, but it's
worth it.
I hate doing.
It's quite
touristy
meditative.
things.
It's meditative.
yeah.
It was only us, no one else on the whole river.
Calm for the most part.
Okay.
So yeah, and it's just real chill. Like it's good just to be in nature.
I get turned
with
off.
Katut on the back screaming.
No, I reckon you'd like it.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Because I do like I like the outdoor adventure-y sort of stuff, but even Bali, I just like sitting on the fucking beanbag having a beer and watching the sunset. That's
People go to Bali to relax. Like if you're from WA, you're not going to Bali for the full tourist experience.
Yeah.
But you probably only did that because you're with your mate that's gone
Yeah.
for the first time.
Yeah.
you know?
The time before the last one, I was like, I want to experience this as a tourist because in Canggu, it's all the best thing is that it's like 30% Aussies. then the rest are full international flavor.
Yeah, cool.
So
Yeah.
it's like Americans, Dutch, Netherlands, Denmark, fucking heaps of Russians. I reckon it's probably like 30-40% Russians. And then like I like that because it's more international flavor. But the time I went before, I was like, I want to do what these guys are doing because they come here as a thing. So I went and did the waterfall, the canyoning, which has fucking made me deaf in this ear when it gets too loud. But
Yeah, but that's good.
my deafness.
No, the getting out there doing those sorts of adventures.
Yeah, so I went and did all that, and that was pretty cool.
Because I never like doing. If you go somewhere, I'm like, why would I do something that I could do in Perth?
Yeah.
That's like if I see like I'd go on a footy trip,
So
even
you
on
don't, so you don't get laid on trips?
yeah, no, I do the opposite. No, if I like used to go on a footy trip, the lads would go to a nightclub. I go, why the fuck are we going to a nightclub? We can go to
Let's
a nightclub
put fucking $57 in my full
Yeah, no, but I'd rather go fucking to the little huts or the bars, like something different, a different style. And
that was my go-to line. I went with Complete, and he likes to just chill, especially in the hotel. And I'm like, man, I just kept saying, oh no, it wasn't just me and Complete. It was like 10 of us. Yeah, and they were wanting to chill in the swim-up pool, the swim-up bar, whatever you call it, all day, every day. I'm like, yo, and then after that, every time they were doing something that you could do here, my go-to was, we could do this in Perth.
Yeah.
Perth. Let's do something different.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, that's what Cam wanted to do. Is like, next time I come, I just want to do the swim-up pool. I'm like, once you order one drink, like that's it.
That's
like,
that's
that's
same thing
it.
for the rest of the day.
So I like to do, if I'm there for long enough, one day on, one day off. Chill, have a few drinks, swim up, pool bar, do all that. And then the next day, get out, get adventurous, Well,
for me, it depends who you go with. Like, because I've been in heaps of different circumstances. The best time I went to Bali was when I went by myself.
I
went and stayed up in the mountains in Ubud and just did my own thing. Did some yoga retreat and some sound healing. I had a little scooter I was just fanging around on by myself. Yeah, go out for meals by myself.
Love that.
Not many people can do that, man. I think then people don't really enjoy their own company, you know. But I was like, this is great. No one here to fuck my vibe up. I'm good.
You do what you want. I literally exclusively travelled on my own for the last
it's good, eh?
8 years.
It's a little bit lonely, but it's also a little bit, it forces you to get out and meet people.
Yeah. It forces you to be social. It sucks because you don't have a shared memory to reminisce on with anybody when you come back. Yeah. But I think the benefits far outweigh the negatives. And
Lena.
He fell in love on his last trip. Yeah.
See,
it was good going with Cam because like when we went out, like, and we could have a drink, and Cam's wicked to go out with, like super social.
Yeah.
So like that was cool.
Yeah.
And when we bumped into, do you know Clinton Ibrahim? He used to live with me. They flew over to meet up with us. They're traveling Southeast Asia doing vlogs and caught up with them. Did a podcast with them. It was actually a good one. That's on Patreon as well. If you want to listen to that one. He's doing like his own travel channel. He's got up to nearly 1,000 subscribers.
I love that. The travel channel thing is that's what our YouTube channel started as. Yeah. My travel channel. I just converted the name and kept all those subscribers. Those whole 33 subscribers. But travel vlogging, travel vlog channel is very appealing. Yeah. That is there's a lot of it.
I haven't done Ubud at all, I don't think. I thought it was more like a couple's vibe there. Were you going like a honeymoon or?
Oh, you can.
Yeah, I think you're right. I definitely felt like everyone was looking at me like, where's the chick?
Who's this guy?
But like you guys said, if you to go by yourself, start mingling and stuff like that. I didn't want to. I was just like, if tourists would come and talk to me, I was like, leave me alone. I'm here to be in my own, like, you know, and it was like, it was just 4 days. I just wanted to be by myself and just be in my own zone and refresh. And I came back so refreshed. I loved it.
Yeah. So last time we had you on, were you a dad yet?
No.
You were just expecting. Yeah. Get real close.
I wasn't. My partner wasn't even pregnant, so
I
don't think so. Anyway, no, she definitely wasn't.
Yeah, fuck. So you're a dad now.
It's been a minute. Yeah, some stuff has changed.
Yeah, because that was a concern for you because you were saying leading up. I think you were actually pregnant.
We were pregnant.
Yeah, and your mindset had changed. You'd started to realise that your priorities were going to have to change in regards to like you'll do anything to keep food on the table and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's obviously changed because you got a different job.
It's real now. Yeah. So not in community services anymore.
Still helping in that area, or like trying to be involved? Or
So if you're listening to these back to back, we've gone from somebody who cares about all the kids to somebody who cares about one.
No, two. I got Isla as well.
Yeah.
So, so I got my partner has a daughter from a previous relationship. Isla, she's 7.
Yeah.
I honestly look at her like she's my own.
Yeah.
It's hard not to when you live with them.
Yeah.
And then obviously had Jordan. He's coming up to 11 months, so just over 10 months.
Yeah, I live with 2 housemates as well, and I look at their girlfriends like my own. It's hard. We live with them for so long.
And what?
I hope they don't watch this.
What's been the biggest thing? Because it's instant, hey.
Yeah.
Because I remember a few messages I sent with you, and it was just like instant.
Yes, very, very instant. I guess I don't know what it feels like, but my partner was telling me that some people don't feel that instant connection, and it's obviously not their fault or not their choice, but because my only comparable situation is my own, I don't know how that would feel to not even feel that. Like, it was just instant for me the second he came out, and it was just, I think the whole birth, we're so lucky in the sense that it was quite seamless. Like, it was as easygoing as it could possibly be. It gave me a whole new level of found respect for not even just my partner, but women in general, my mum.
What they go through.
All the women in my life. Yeah, like the pregnancy, and again, like the pregnancy itself and the birth were all like relatively easygoing, so...
For you.
Imagine, yes. The 9 months went like that.
The pain, it was painless, I think.
Compared to some of the traumatic ones that you hear
So,
about.
like, I can only imagine, how partners would view their significant others or their wives if it was even, more hardship endured. But, I just couldn't believe that that's what women go through, and that's what women's bodies can do. Like I said, it gave me... Sometimes I'm quite overt and... outspoken and bold with a lot of my opinions, and sometimes it can be misconstrued as like, is Aaron sexist or is Aaron...
Yeah, well, you've got that song "Bitches a Week."
All women are bitches. I've actually got a song called "Two Types" from when I was like 17. It's like, there's 2 types of females, women and bitches. Oh my God. And that shows still kind of that belief. So it's like, but it shows
you can evolve and grow and
absolutely,
and whatnot.
Yeah. I'm definitely not sexist. If anything, I think women are the most incredible thing walking the earth, and especially now that I've witnessed that and been a part of that. And now it's like, you gave me the best present that I could ever ask for.
Did you get a PS5 as well? What are the odds of that?
Yeah.
That was a good one.
That unconditional love that you feel as soon as they're there.
Yes, but it's also it's very scary. Like now there's something that could potentially go wrong that would completely derail me. Like if anything ever happened to him or it's very, very scary. Like the other night, Hannah went out. It's not my first time being left with him. I've been out with him a lot by myself and stuff, but I don't know, he just seemed to not, he hadn't got up for his 11 o'clock feed, and it got to
and you panic
11:45, and I went in and I'm feeling his back to make sure he's breathing. I'm like
constantly.
It's your head's always thinking worst case scenario. Like if this was to happen, what would my reaction
what is with
be?
that? Because I'm like 5 years into being a parent, and I'm still doing that. I'm talking to Delby the other day, telling him I'm fucking unbreakable at the moment. I'm bulletproof, and nothing can fucking stop me. And then I went, fuck, there he is. And why is that the first thing that came to my head? Why is the danger, my child, like, why is that the first thing?
I think this, and again, I'm not 100% sure, but I would assume it's the way our brains are programmed to be protective of our kids as it pertains to all nature. Like you see animals in the wild on, David Attenborough or whatever. And
it's because your lineage is... they're carrying on your gene pool.
Yeah.
There has to be something, I guess, parenthesized and built in us that
genetically
forces that, because obviously when they're that young and vulnerable, they need that level of protection and care. And I don't know, I kind of can't speak from it's not that black and white. I guess there's nuance in the sense that like I said before, I don't think all parents look at.
Yeah, if you're from Balga, you don't give a fuck.
I don't even think Balga's that bad.
It's just the go-to fucking
so you can
suburb.
say that now. You can say that now.
Yeah.
I think surely there's something, programmed in us to have that caring nature. But like I said, I don't know if all parents feel that. I can only speak to my experience, and there's a whole new level of now. I thought I would become much more chilled and calm in my nature, and I've become way more savage and way more selfish and way more, because my world has kind of streamlined and shrunken down to my household. Before, like going back to the community services stuff, I wanted to help community, and I still want the betterment and the best for my community and the world, if anything. But like my I guess, what would you call it? Yeah, my priorities and my focus and where I put my emphasis and attention in life has shrunken right down to my household. It's put everything in perspective and made me realize that I only have a certain amount of bandwidth and time in a day, and I don't want to be spreading myself too thin so that my family get kind of, I guess, like the surplus of what's left at the end of the day. And that's what was happening when I was in community services. I was kind of giving it so much of myself that I was coming home, and obviously I had my stepdaughter at the time, but I could feel she'd see me run through the door and run up to me, and I'd be like, and I'd need just some time to kind of regroup. And I was seeing a psych at the time, and they were saying, you need to implement some kind of strategy and tool that, you have like a buffer from work. Go sit in a park for half an hour if you can, and kind of, reset and go home. So I started doing that, but after a while, you kind of can't fight burnout anymore. You have to pull back. So there's a lot of people in community services that are super burnt out and have compassion fatigue, and they stay there just out of comfort, and it's convenient. So
compassion fatigue that's
a real thing, man.
Yeah,
you start going, because
you just can't keep.
Compassion has to underpin your practice when you're doing that. You have to always, because sometimes you can start projecting your expectations onto the kid or whoever you're working with, like because you can see the clear path to improvement, and they're not taking it, and it's like, make better choices, be better, like, you know what I mean? You start going to tough love, but your practice should be underpinned by empathy and compassion, really. And I could just feel my window of tolerance was shrinking rapidly every day. So number one, I wasn't giving my all in the center anymore. Number two, I was coming home and not giving my all to my family. So with Jordan on the way, I kind of had to make the executive decision to say, no, I need to step back from this. And
so does that mean you've put yourself in a position where you go to a job that, and I don't know what you're doing, but a job that you don't care as much about? It's literally a paycheck, and then you can put everything of your passion into your writing and your music on the side, and then your family.
Yeah, in a nutshell, it's just the job I have now is a lot more logical in using your brain and not so much using your emotions. It's not it's like not emotionally impacting me whatsoever. It's sometimes I come home, my brain's a bit frazzled, but like I have all the emotion and all the presence to give my family in the world.
That's
so
good.
And I can work from home a lot as well. So I'm not missing them, because I was in my other job, I would have been going to work, coming home 5 o'clock. He stays up for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and goes to sleep. So I'm seeing him for like all of 2 hours every day. And then that first period and of his life is gone. And then I'll never get that back again. So this job where I can work from home a lot, I'm not pretending to work from home and spending all the time with my kid, but he's right there. I get to,
there's
answer
moments.
a few emails, answer a few calls, go get to hang with him for a bit, come back, and in a nutshell, the family and work life balance is a lot better.
And you can't control every aspect, but you're a chance to, and I'm not sure if you have been there or if it has walked yet, but like the first steps and stuff like that. I was at work. So I wasn't there for the first steps. The first time they roll over, the first smile. Like I got a video when I was fucking welding from my wife at the time of like the first smile, laughing. Yeah. And I was
from your wife, or
yeah, that as well.
That's the first time I've smiled in this relationship.
Just want to show you how happy I am. You're at work.
There's another guy here.
Well, yeah, she.
Shit,
Yep. Woo.
Damn.
But
I'm so sorry, man. Shit, dude.
Unintentional riff, bringing up trauma.
I didn't know. Delby, a heads up could have been good.
But the fact is, now, like I might not have been there. Like I still may have been. Even now, I work from home. I'm still out and about. I might not have been there. But the fact that I think once it was, I think she was like, I'm guessing about 2 to 18 months ish when I quit my job. So then I had that opportunity. So I did get a bit more.
Okay.
And I've got a lot more of it.
But don't you get bored of watching them walk?
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Where's the jog?
I won't pretend that every minute is not like you don't sit there and go, I fucking love being with my kid all the time.
No.
Like it gets draining, it's tiring.
Yeah.
It's also illegal for me. If I tell people that.
But you know what? Like I think it's definitely put more strain on our relationship. And there's so many contributing factors that come into that. It's like lack of sleep. You know, so like obviously our stepdaughter.
You mean the child, or you mean
for
working
us.
from home?
Yeah, no, for the couple. Like
yeah, but what's put more stress on the relationship? The
sorry,
child?
sorry, the child.
Yeah, okay.
And you know, I'm assuming it's the same for everybody. And but it also.
So why was it different with your kid as opposed to Isla?
Because
Is that because you have less responsibility?
Nah, she lives with us full time, so I have just as much responsibility. It's more pertaining to the fact that when I met her, she was 4, and Hannah, I guess, had already done all the groundwork. So it would just be, it was kind of like a maintenance thing, and with every next stage in her life, like I would try to, okay, she's at this level of understanding now. Now maybe it's time to have a discussion about this and teach her that manners are important now, or that, you know, etiquette is important. And
so
stuff
you were
like
already
that.
dealing with somebody that understood, could talk.
Correct. Yeah.
And now
But
you're
with
just in the trenches.
Well, and sleep as well. Do you know what I mean? And so obviously, when I first stepped in, I had to find my place in it. Like, I got to shout out all the stepdads out there, because it is a tough thing to do, and it's so much easier if you have a supportive partner and a partner that understands that it is a tough thing to do, and it's definitely worth it. I wouldn't change anything. But, and it's taught me so much about myself as well, because you have to find a new level of patience within yourself, because you essentially...
Because it's not your kid. And
I was just going to say, I don't look at it like this anymore, but in the start, you're like, wow, I just live with someone else's kid.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't have the same patience that you could, I guess, apply to your own child, where you go, that's my kid. Do you know what I mean? So it's definitely instilled a whole new level of tolerance and patience within me, for sure.
And what discussion do you have with your partner about what you're expected to do and boundaries? Because for me, like growing up, we had a couple of different stepdads, and if Jam or Chris was being rude to mum, you could see I would step in because of my brother, or even if I was one, but like they weren't sure when the time to jump in was.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I'm extremely blessed that I grew up with a stepdad as well. He came along when I was 11, I think. And to put it frank, he just pretty much wrote the book on how to do it, because I feel like he walked that line perfectly between I'm not your father, but I am the man of this house. And I think he never blurred the lines of when to step in and when not to step in. You know, he would let my mum take the lead, and then at certain places, if I became disrespectful or whatever, he'd be like, oi, pull up. That's not how you speak to your mum, or, you know, because at the end of the day, that's his partner, and that's the person he loves. So it's just as hard for him to see. And it's the same with Isla. Like, I'll let her get away with speaking to me in a certain way more than I would let her mum. Like, if I hear her speak to her mum in a certain way, that's when I'll step in and say, especially if Hannah's kind of not sticking up for herself enough, I'd be like, excuse me, you don't speak to your mum like that. Because she doesn't, as a kid, that's the other thing, they don't have a good grasp of exactly what the parents are doing for them yet. They're you're just doing your job. This is what you're meant to do. Whereas I see how good of a mum she is and how imperative she is in Isla's life. So it's like, you know, when I hear that, it's like, wait a minute, excuse me, you don't speak to your mum like that. Show her some more respect. So but I think an open line of communication is extremely important between the couple, you know, the stepdad or stepmom and the.
I think I've searched that a few times.
I
haven't searched it at all, but it fucking keeps coming up, and it's doing my head in. I'm like, I don't want this Tasmanian shit.
It's coming up for a reason.
My old theory on that. Well, that's for another podcast.
Oh, what's your theory on that?
Well, there's so much searches in countries where they do have intermarriage, and because there's so many of them, it drives the search engines to pop
the algorithms to make them as suggested more.
It was good. I'm glad you said that, because I didn't want to transition from Isla to Pornhub.
But we can clip that earlier bit up where you called Hannah a good mum, and we can send that to her.
Hey, that's the thing these days. I can't remember. Spanian. There's this dude in Australia, and he put something up recently where he was in an interview or a pod like this, and then so that these shorts that are happening now, and people are so, I guess,
dumb.
Would get dumb, or
lazy, lack of diligence.
We're just so used to it that when they watch it, they don't even notice the cuts or the clips in the thing, and so they're just taking that as verbatim. You know, face value. That's what this person said, and then you like that. Andrew Tate is a great example of that.
Yeah.
Because
100%, yeah.
You know, a lot of I've watched a lot of the pods, and I've seen a lot of the shorts, and I've seen, he might be in a pod where he's defending himself, and he's like, I actually didn't say that. I said, and then I go and find that, and I'm like, whoa, they really chopped that up. And I get it, you only get 30 seconds, but the way they've chopped it up is with a clear intention to vilify and demonize somebody. It's like the only reason you would take what somebody's saying out of context is it's not that you're grabbing the most entertaining parts. You're putting this together to be, it's clickbaiting. You're trying to have the biggest impact so this gets the most attention, whether it's negative or positive, that it can possibly get. And it's like, it's a scary time. Like,
Aaron DeVaz, 7 News. That's literally what the news do.
So, yeah. And so it's been a thing for a minute, but now it's in the hands of just...
the fuck was that?
It's all right, that's his computer. Keep going.
Now it's in the hands of just your everyday person that has a phone and can do that themselves.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary. It's like how badly... And once they've seen that, the people that kind of take it for what they've seen to clear your name and explain that, it's just like, it's like I can't be moved off this. Like, this is my opinion of this person now, or this is my opinion of this now, and it's like, but look at this, I'm showing you evidence to stay,
because it's longer than 30 seconds, bro.
Yes.
So and people will watch it like us. We'll have people, mate, love the podcast. I've seen it heaps. I go, which episode you listen to? Oh, no, we just saw that clip.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
Sorry,
or the
Insta.
Yeah. And it's like, or like people will comment on a clip that we put without getting the overall context of the thing.
Because we'll be going to put the whole fucking hour and a half conversation where we dive into it. Like, no, we're not.
I was actually looking into the effects that it has on the brain, and it's extremely detrimental to your ability to produce dopamine. And and then so that's why it's not that we're more drawn to these little 30-second clips. It's just that we're so turned off these extended clips. It's like, I can't see. There was one of them that I posted a pod recently, like, you guys should listen to this and check this out. And there's a few people that like came back to me and said, I went to check this out. I saw it was 5 hours long. Get fucked. And it's like, you don't even have to watch the 5 hours. You can watch 2 or 3 or 1 even. But like, people don't even want to watch past half an hour, to be honest with you. And it's tough.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I think, and I've said this before, that we're breeding and driving this generation of kids that are going to have this instant gratification built into them. Yeah. And I use like YouTube Kids on the iPads as a perfect example. And we used to watch TV. Mm-hmm. We used to have to fucking change the channel. You have to look at the TV guide. When's it on? If there's an ad, you have to wait till the ad finishes.
Well, even VHS, if you want to watch a movie, you got to rewind. You wait for it to rewind the whole way.
So annoying when you got a movie that wasn't rewound.
Be kind, rewound. Yeah. But even those sorts of things, they don't seem like big things, and they're obviously very privileged things that we still had when we were younger. But at the same time, they still had a little bit of patience, a little bit of like, hey, you can't just get what you want when you want. Mm-hmm. And then the generation before had it even worse, and worse before that. So they had a bit more tolerance, a bit more resilience, a bit more patience. And it's just getting worse and worse and worse.
This is the other thing about having kids as well. I thought, like I said before, I thought it would make me much more calmer and placid and stuff. It's made me way more savage and way more selfish, because now I care more than ever what kind of world my child is going to grow up in. And if I can have, some effect on change or some kind of influence in pushing things in the right direction. And again, this would be what I perceive as the right direction. So it's kind of, close-minded of me, but I know what kind of world I would love my son to grow up in. I know how I would love my son to grow up and be in an environment where he can flourish. And I do worry that, the other flip side of that coin is, are you not going to give your kid a phone when every other kid's got a phone? And now your kid's the loser without a phone. It's like, and someone said that to me. I was like, no, he's not having a phone until he's 18. It's like, so you're going to make your kid the loser at school that doesn't have a phone when everyone else does. So it's like you're pigeonholed into a decision that you don't want to make.
It's fucking hard, man, because I remember being at Warner's and, like, obviously mum didn't have any money. And if we wanted
a phone, by the way.
Yeah. And if we wanted a phone, mum's like, you can have it, but you have to pay for it yourself. So I remember buying my first phone.
Nokia 3310?
No, it was like a fucking... it was a Kmart job, like whatever.
Oh, really?
Like it was
similar
Samsung or just
like a little brick thing.
Before that,
yeah, something I can't remember the shitty name of the brand. I got it, had $25 prepaid, and I reckon I sent 5 messages and I spoke for 4 minutes, and all my credit was gone. I was like, "Fuck this, man!" I took it back. I'm like, "Give me my money back for the phone. Take my SIM card," and I didn't get another one until I was like 16, I think. Got the Nokia 3310s. I just wanted it to play Snake.
Yeah.
And then text.
Snake was the shit.
Yeah.
Snake was dope.
Playing with your snake at school means something completely different.
But that's what I used to do that. I did Vodafone to Vodafone.
Yeah.
And I found out that there's 5 people-ish that were on Vodafone.
Yeah.
So after 8 o'clock, you could do 20 minutes free or something like that, or 30 minutes free.
If you
so
were
I can't remember. There was a list of about 5 people. Kate Wheeler, who was in our skit, the Elf on the Shelf, used to call her. And then I'd call there'd be like a group of people.
This is how I learned to talk to girls.
Really?
Legit. But I got a better hack, bro.
Oh, what was it?
So me and my mate Imad, he had, at the time, if it was Vodafone, I think Vodafone was big when we were in high school. Yeah. Vodafone to Vodafone after 7 was free. Yeah?
Yeah.
So
that's what it was.
We both had Vodafone.
Yeah.
He would put my phone number in his call divert, and whoever I wanted to call, it didn't matter who you were with. Right, I would call him. I'll put that phone number in my call divert, and then I would call that person for free because it diverts from him to me and then me back out. Yeah. So I would spend hours just any girl's number that I got at school, I'd just be on the phone.
Remember we used to sit on the phone to chicks for like
forever
on the home phone and shit.
Yeah, my dad would be banging on the wall. What are you doing in there?
It's Rebecca.
It's a girl. Oh, okay, good stuff.
I had so many good friendships, and I remember I would cold call bitches. Hey,
yeah, right.
I'd just be like, Danielle, yeah, it's Delby. I got your number off Chelsea. How you going? Like, I just start chatting for
what are you up to?
ages. Yeah, what are you up to?
Do you want to meet at the underpass? But like, you make an interesting point actually, because that's the other thing. I saw Shaq recently. They were talking to him about his kids. He's got like 8 kids or some shit, and he said something. He sat his kids down and he goes, "Now look, Dad's rich. You're not rich. Yeah. You've got nothing."
Fuck
so
yeah.
Basic, and this was this. I'm glad that I saw that, because I said to Hannah, that's the other thing, having kids. You start freaking out. I'd never freaked out about money before that. Yeah. But then I started going, I want to be able to give my kids everything. I want to have the best of everything, the biggest, nicest house. So you start kind of going gun-ho for this money, the idea of attaining as much money as possible. When and I saw that and I was like, yo, I think if I was to do that, I'm probably going to raise a sport little brat that
100%.
doesn't know how to hustle and make its own money.
Especially at that age, they don't see any of that. No. They see the person.
Yeah.
They see they don't fucking see a rich person versus a poor person. They don't see a black person, a white person, a gay person, a fucking transgender person, a fucking Muslim, a Christian. They don't see any of that. They see the fucking person you are, and that's like that. That's one thing I'm adamant on with my daughter growing up, and I'm not sure if you do the same, but I won't teach my daughter about racism and fucking misogyny and hierarchy.
You'll just show them.
No. I will teach my daughter.
Not what to do.
I will teach my daughter to see the person they are, and that is fucking it.
Yeah.
That's where the fucking conversation ends.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to teach them about fucking racism. Yes, I acknowledge it's there and it existed, but if I keep creating an issue out of something that's there, it's going to fucking keep the issue going. So just don't continue to do it and just live in the fucking present moment and be the person.
Let's clip this and see what happens in 6 years' time and see if it's see if it's worked. And then you can write a book on how to eliminate misogyny and racism. I'm not being sarcastic. I know I sound like it, but I'm like, this would be a great case study.
100%, because I just feel like if you make a deal out of racism, continue to make a difference, a deal out of racism for my daughter, she doesn't see a fucking black person. Yeah. She sees a person that either has kindness, gratitude, and empathy, or she doesn't.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's interesting when you see a kid, say of Isla's age. How old's your daughter?
5 years old.
5 years old. So a couple of years younger. Say they see something on the TV, and the way they interpret things, it's like, why is that guy being so mean to that guy? And it's like it'll be a movie or a show in the background, and it'll be say this. And again, this is just hypothetical. Say it was a white guy, and it was an old show like Django or something like that. And she's like, I don't get why is that guy doing that? Because you're right, they don't have that level of
Quentin Tarantino is a racist.
and that's the thing. If you've taught them the underlying rule of you don't see them by their race, you don't see them by their religion, you don't see them by their gender, you just see them for the person they are. They don't need to worry about the rest of the fucking rules. They'll just say, that's a good person.
Yeah.
They're a good person. I'll treat them well.
Yeah, because Leonardo had more money than the rest, and that's why you would be an asshole. Yeah. Legit.
And the best way you can do it is to well, I think anyway. And again, my son's not even a year old. I'm not going to say I've figured it all out because I definitely haven't. There's going to There's going to be hurdles. There's going to be new things that I have to kind of figure out on the fly and on the spot and stuff. But I'm confident that I have a good enough foundation within myself to, even if I make mistakes, which I'm going to, it's just being able to come off the back of it and being able to, have them progressive conversations with him and stuff. But I think as long as you instill respect into your children, and you say if people show you respect, you show respect back, and that kind of thing, then I think if that's the foundation in which you raise your children, you can't really go wrong, because everything's underpinned, in human interaction anyway, by respect.
Well, even further to that, I would say not only do you show respect to people that show you respect, show respect to the people that don't, because just because they're a fucking asshole or a cunt doesn't make you that person as well. No. You don't have to be that person as well.
But I would also say I wouldn't. That person doesn't deserve any of your time.
No, they don't.
You don't have to go to a level of vitriol and animosity and hate that person, but just go, cool, I'm not getting respect in this situation, I'll remove myself. I'll go somewhere else where I do get respect. And But again, I'm changing so quickly at the moment because my life is changing so quickly. And I've always said to people that the smartest 3 words you can say are, I don't know. And what I want to come from the standpoint of always being open-minded to changing. A lot of people think that people are so scared to change their opinions when presented with new information, and I think that's really stubborn, and that's how you stay.
Because they feel unsafe.
That's how you stay. Yeah, they're like, oh, I don't want to be a contradiction. It's like, whether you like it or not, human beings are constant contradictions, and we should be, because we're constantly evolving, we're constantly learning new things, and the smartest thing you could do is stay open-minded enough to changing your stance on things. I think the dumbest thing you can do is be, I've said this too overtly now, I've been on the podcast last time and I was saying this, I can't go here today and say to the contrary and say, actually, because people go, he's backpedaling. It's like, no, actually, something might have happened in that time period where
you've grown,
or I've just it's put something into perspective for me, and I've changed my angle on it. I think that's the smartest thing that you can do, and I think that kind of, for me, that's the distinction between people that are super intelligent and willing to grow, and for that intelligence and even on an emotional level to grow, and then people that get kind of hunkered down where they are.
Well, if you're the captain of a ship and you're sailing towards a fucking cliff, and someone's like, Captain, there's a cliff there. You go, no, there's not. I know that there's no cliff there. And they're like, there's information coming in. We can see a fucking cliff.
Don't know why, but it's there.
Yeah. And if you just go, fuck it, I'm going to keep going, then you're going to crash.
Well, and it's like, and that's the other thing. It's like, some people think, I'm the captain. I know what I'm doing. Don't you tell me what to do. So, but I am the
and that's
captain
ego.
now.
We spoke about that last week. That's ego.
I'd be lying if I was to say that, that I'm not guilty of it sometimes, but I'm catching myself now going, wait a minute, you need to be a little more open-minded to this. What's this person saying? Like, I do find myself sometimes being protective of my opinion still, but I know better now. But like, I think I've said it here before, an epiphany doesn't create a new, a new characteristic or a new way of being. You kind of have to, consistently chip away at that nature in yourself that you want to change,
Well, and that's, I think, I've gone down that path of like now being so open about everything on the podcast. Even last week I said, I'm unvaccinated, and I'd never said that publicly on the podcast. I never said categorically I was unvaccinated. I just said.
You definitely alluded to the fact.
I alluded to it, but I never said it. But now I'm like, that, for example, is one thing I'm very open to do, because I'm more than willing to be wrong and then go, hey, fuck, I was wrong. Which doesn't seem to be the case for the people who
smelling your own farts.
Yes. But those sorts of those sorts, the account. I'm not seeing it a lot from the people who on the other vax side, but we don't have to go down that path.
But that's the other thing about growth as well. I think if you're not open to being held accountable, and the more I am being open to being held accountable, the more I see, even in my close relationships, it's abundantly, and I think you were talking about this the other day with the whole red car thing, and it's because my focus is on, and again, I only want to look at changing things about myself. I don't want to try to change things about other people anymore. Say someone is very difficult to deal with, instead of going, I need to change how difficult they are to deal with, I go, I need to work on my tolerance with that person and make sure I'm more patient, and around them just be more aware of how impatient I'm being, because number one, you can't control that stuff outside of you, and number two, going back to the red card thing, is like, because I'm working on that within me, it's so abundantly obvious in other people now. I'm like, wow, this level of I can't be held accountable is ubiquitous, and I can't escape.
I think it's the next like pandemic, man, is people not being able to be accountable. You see the fucking losers that I sent you the clip of last night, all the fucking the they thems and the trans and the lesbian folks in an argument will get up and just fucking leave because they don't want to listen to the other person's point or idea. Yeah. And they get up and fucking leave. They're not being accountable. Yeah, they'll scream their opinion at you. And then fuck off.
Yeah, this new
it's disgusting.
I think we spoke about this last time I was here as well, the PC stuff. It's gotten even worse. But this new young generation that are it's narcissistic compassion. It's like it's narcissism veiled as compassion.
That's 100% right. That's a great term for it.
Yeah, because that's all it is. They want to show how compassionate they are and make you feel like you're not a kind person because you have an opposing opinion. Yeah. But it's funny they use the very same methods in which to do that, like Tim Morrison. Yeah. So and I need to be careful getting involved in this stuff because again I give too much of my energy to it. But I get, and again harkening back to what I was saying before about creating a world that I want my son to be able to thrive in. Yeah. I know that if that specific situation is to intensify and to get worse and worse and worse, which it has, then people are going to grow up, like masculinity is severely under attack at the moment. We keep hearing this toxic masculinity, but no one ever talks about toxic femininity, which if toxic masculinity exists, it's just by fact, toxic femininity has. And it definitely but nobody ever says that. Number one, it's hard to say. I've said it wrong twice. Femininity. But of course it exists, but no one's talking about it. So I don't want my son to grow up feeling like he can't be masculine or a man, or he can't exhibit male traits, or that gender roles don't exist and stuff like that.
Both masculine and feminine traits should be celebrated and and then also they play practical roles within society and
exactly right. And the other thing,
feminine they clean, and
I was just about to say that's the other thing. A lot of people don't realize. People go masculine man, feminine woman. We have feminine traits. Everyone knows I'm not the most masculine of men. You could give me a toolbox and go fix this in my house, and I just call someone to come and do it for me. I can't fix shit. It's fun. But with that said, I have ingrained masculine traits in me. Like I can be savagely aggressive in going after what I want. Things like that. And women tend to be more agreeable. That's a feminine trait, but that doesn't mean I'm never aggressive. Did you say that or you? But that's what I mean. Like,
and
doesn't
empathy
mean that
and being able to express your emotions. Like I got heaps of feminine traits. Yeah, but it's not bad. It isn't a bad thing.
But I think what they're honestly, and I know I sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I came up with a saying the other day. Is like the only difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth, especially these days, is time. Like because people will say that is insane. Even that what's his name?
Alex Jones.
Even he said like over a decade ago about that island that Epstein's
Island,
and of course that sounds crazy. Yeah. And coming from a dude like that, you're like, this motherfucker is nuts. Yeah. And then 10 years later, it comes to the surface. That was a real thing this whole time. So, and at the time, he was a crazy conspiracy theorist. And maybe with this whole COVID thing that happened lately, all of us people that were kind of outspoken about it may be proven wrong. I feel like as it's kind of a thing in the distance, it's not so much like people are going to be like, that was ages ago. Get over it.
That's what they are. Get over it.
It's annoying though because they fucked everyone's life and they just want to move on.
Yeah. But going back to the this new generation, you're right. They can't have open dialogue about anything, and as soon as you start making any kind of sense, they become aggressive and then they get angry,
emotional.
And so Tim does these sound healing sessions. You know what sound healing is?
Yeah,
so his intention for years now has been to help people. Like that's all he's trying to do. He's acting out of empathy and compassion and trying to, affect the world in a positive way.
Helping a lot of men's groups as well.
Heaps of men's groups, but he does heaps of other stuff too. But he's dedicated his whole life for the better part of 10 years to helping people, and all he was doing was playing the yidaki, aka the didgeridoo, at these sound healing things. And next thing you know, I see this apology in text from him saying, I sincerely apologize. I'm doing my best to, become acclimated with culture and understand on a new level. And
don't tell me cultural appropriation.
In the comments, he's getting rinsed and it's borderline bullying the way these people are speaking to him, going, you should be ashamed of yourself, Tim. How do you feel, I guess, kind of contributing to the ongoing systemic and I was like, wait a minute, this is one of the most kindest men I've ever met in my life, and he's being absolutely rinsed by people online. And I was clicking on all their profiles, and none of them even followed him. So it's that pack mentality where one probably saw it and had the issue, maybe went and got it. And again, this is not me being, whatever LGBTI phobic or whatever. It's every person that I clicked on had their pronouns in their profile. First thing is their pronouns.
They're a fucking plague, mate.
It's
Honestly,
messed
they're a
up,
fucking
man.
plague.
The
And it happened to me.
They would have the Ukraine flag in there.
I tried to stick up for him, and people were actually getting into, aggressive dialogue with me as well. So I touched base with my Noongar friends. Obviously, I don't have any Aboriginal friends that I know of like that closely that outside of the Wajak Noongar. And so I touched base with them. Obviously, the didgeridoo is, I think it's from somewhere in Sydney. Pardon my ignorance, but it's obviously not a Western thing. But as you probably know, if you walked into a store that sells Indigenous art, they sell didgeridoos. So there is white people out there playing didgeridoos, but they were saying you're profiting off of, a culture that was largely oppressed by your people.
But it's a beautiful instrument that creates like a resonant frequency that actually helps heal the body.
Surely you'd want to share.
And in his post, he's saying, I was actually taught how to play this by an elder. The elder made and gave it to me.
Jeez,
and people are still like saying, and then so he's given 2 apologies. And part of me was like, don't fucking apologize. You don't need to apologize. Your intention is pure, and it is a beautiful instrument, and it's great.
And especially if an elder's made it and given it to him and taught him how to play it.
So my Noongar friends said, from what they know, if he's followed all the right protocols, which it sounds like he has, then there shouldn't be an issue. No. Again, they're like, this is not art, Noongar culture, so I can't speak to it. But by the sounds of the facts that you presented me, which was all the facts, they said it sounds like he's followed all the right protocols and done the right thing. But these people were going,
mate, but because they're not real.
Were they white people?
Every single one of them, except for 1 or 2, were white. Yeah, every single one of them. And I was like, wait, so you're
and. That's it.
Yeah.
Done.
I said, is that not...
Shut the fuck up.
I said, so wait a minute. Your right to be offended on behalf of a whole race of people trumps an elder's right to actually give someone the authority to do that.
It's disgusting.
I said,
you see them. They're all trolls. It's not real life. And like you said, it's always the same kind of person. Yeah. They might not be LGBTQ, but they got the pronouns. They're the fucking... I think it's social justice warriors.
Virtue
they're
signaling.
Fucking losers, bro.
Virtue signalers.
Virtue signalers. They're fucking
signaling.
losers, and they're not real. As soon as you take away the Facebook comment, you fucking put them in a room.
Theatre.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is that...
but they're pack mentality and they're fucking... They're leeches.
Yeah.
They're fucking rats, man. I hate the cunts.
It was pack mentality, virtue signaling
piss me off.
From there. And I said, what's the weather like up there in your ivory tower
Exactly.
looking down on everybody? Because you're so sanctimonious and so self-righteous that you've got to stand on the heads of everybody else to get up there to feel good.
I reckon if you look through their history, they fucking have way more skeletons than we do.
This is the beautiful thing. This girl, I start going back and forth with her. She jumped in out of nowhere and she was obviously... pride myself on having a decent vocabulary. I'm obsessed with words. That's why I'm a rapper.
Yeah.
So, I'm going back and forth, and I'm having actually some
at least something with her.
Some of these conversations weren't constructive whatsoever. I could tell it's like, you're bringing the worst out of me. I'm bringing the worst out of you. I tried my best to avoid aggression because I feel like it's the weakest form of argument. And then I'm allowing them to change my nature. I was just trying to present the facts. And I think the more factual and calm you are in a debate or an argument is
always
you're always going to have more of an effect. And people, and the thing is, if you can stay calm and they get aggressive to anybody on the outside,
just never attack the person.
No, and never make it personal either. And they started doing that. And so one girl goes to me when he issued the second apology. She was a girl that had been quite vocal on the previous post and blah blah blah. And so she got tagged in the second apology by one of her little
friends.
Ivory Tower constituents, yeah. So she said, she just tagged her and didn't say anything. And she goes, yeah, shame about all of his disciples in my inbox sending me all kinds of threats. And I just wrote, that didn't happen. And she said, how would you know, blah, blah. I said, send me screenshots. I said, more than you'll get through to my inbox. I said, I'd like a screenshot of all these inbox messages you're getting. And then she's like, how pathetic are you, da-da-da-da. I just wrote, still waiting.
Yeah.
And she just kept going and going and going. I said, all this time that you're spending typing to me, you could be spending screenshotting and sending to me.
I reckon
they're virtue signaling. They're creating a straw man so that they can, and that's the thing. They came at me like, do you not value respect? And I said, no, don't do that. You're not going to create a straw man. I said, you're not even touching on the points that I'm saying. Like I've said, he's followed the right protocols. Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but the funny part was this chick chimed in, and the stuff I wanted to say, I didn't say, thank God, because in hindsight, I would have regretted it. But she chimed in, and then she started going, You know, and just because you as a man want to come in here and I just went straight. I was like, I'm not getting back with it, because I said to her, I said, I'm not doing this with you anymore.
She said, how dare you tell me how I identify, you fuck.
Bro, I said, I'm not getting into this with you anymore, blah, blah, blah. And then her...
What if he identified as an Aboriginal elder?
Well, man, think about this. What if I don't know.
What if you were Aboriginal?
What if I was Aboriginal?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. One of them goes, throw your white privilege, da-da-da. I said, excuse me. I'm not fully white. My dad is Indian. You know what I mean? So, and I could have gone, excuse me, I'm Aboriginal. I would never do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? How does she know that?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not full white.
Because they're right. They're always right.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
So
But I said to this girl, and her last soliloquy before what I said, so I said, I'm not getting into this with you anymore. I'm not engaging in this, blah, blah, blah. And then she wrote a big, long thing, and I said, I can't publicly now go back at her again. I've told her that's the last. So I went to her inbox and I said, hi, I'd really appreciate it if you didn't assume my gender. If you do it again, I'll have you banned, you bigot. I called her a bigot, and then she said, well, I could tell from your page that you identify as he, him, da da da. I said, you can't tell from
nothing.
my page that. Yeah.
You fucking
why? Because
stereotyper.
I'm with a woman. So you're saying that if anybody's with a woman, they automatically become a he, him, and I just had her pinned in the corner. And then I just had so much fun with her. Privately, I was just having great fun.
And that goes back to what I was saying about what I'll teach my daughter. I won't teach her to see fucking gender or like race or anything like that. It'll literally be, you see the person. If they're a fucking asshole, they're an asshole. If they're a good person, they're a good person.
But
that's
also
the end of the fucking discussion.
And you can't raise her wrapped in bubble wrap, and you know what I mean? Because you're not preparing people for the real world. And instead of adjusting to the real world, these people are trying to change the real world. And it's not going to work. Right. It's not going to work. Like I said before, it's not compassion, it's narcissism. You're trying to show how much better than everybody else you are, how self-righteous and sanctimonious you are, and it just,
Now, from the other side of that as well, so they really think that they're doing the best for the world as well.
I think that...
That's a hard one to be honest.
I think some of them think that, and I think the others are self-serving, like Bitter said.
Oh, yeah,
I think they want to go...
They might not know it, though, still. Yeah. They might not know that it's self-serving. I still think they think that they're doing the right thing, saying the right thing, and being for the best. So it's one of those things where they might be narcissistic. They might be... maybe their messaging is wrong. Maybe their thoughts are wrong, but their heart is still, to a certain point, in the right place.
I would hope so. But also, I think that what social media has done, it has created this
echo chamber
paradigm. Yeah, well, an echo chamber, but a paradigm where, for the most part, and people that are unaware, what happens is what other people think of you become more important than what you actually think of yourself. So everything these days seems to be for show. It seems to be like, I was in the gym the other day and I walked past and there's a girl lying on the floor, stretched out, going like that. She didn't give a fuck how stupid she looked in the gym. All that mattered was her Instagram post, and something inside her has to go, I'm a fucking squeezer for this. But it doesn't matter, because everybody else would have started heaping praise onto her in the comments, and that's what matters. It doesn't matter what she thinks of herself. It doesn't matter if she thinks she's a fucking squeezer, because everybody else is going to tell her that she's super hot. She's going to get a bunch of thirsty guys inboxing her probably, and that's where all this gratification comes from. And that's every time.
It's true. They get external gratification.
Well, and then what you do is you base your self-worth on what other people think of you, and you really should not do that. That's a dangerous road to walk down, because what other people think of you is so arbitrary, and so it could be like people could change it tomorrow. Even when presented with wrong information on you, people could turn their back on you. So if you got cancelled tomorrow and everybody hated you, if you didn't have enough self-esteem and feel comfortable with your own skin, what would you do? And then what if you changed everything about yourself to please everybody else and it still didn't work? What would you do? Like, you'd feel like an empty shell in this world. So the most important person that you have to please in this world is you. And the people need to remember that the posts and the things that you do for, unless you're entertainers like ourselves and you're in an entertainment industry, for the most part, these people, and I'm sorry, but it is predominantly like Instagram models and again, predominantly, if you were to do the figures, I'm sure it's probably more women than men, but there is heaps of men doing it now too. And it's look, if that's what you want to do, and you're the gym bro, and if that's what you want to do and you're happy doing it, that's fine. But all I know is that superficial lifestyle is not sustainable. It's not. Eventually your looks are going to fade, or eventually people aren't going to care and they're going to jump onto the next thing. And you have to constantly adapt to different environments rather than just navigating through life being who you are and it not mattering. I'll be lying if I sat here and said I don't care what people think of me. I care what people think of me.
Of course you do,
I'm not going to base my whole outlook on life and the way I operate and move and the way I, raise my children and, maintain my household. I'm not going to base that on what other people think of me. Like, yeah, it affects me, but I'm not going to let it affect me too much.
But if you can keep the majority of your interactions with people as pleasant and loving and as kind-hearted as possible, then it's going to be a lot better for your mental health as well.
Exactly right.
But sometimes it's way more fun to be a cunt.
Absolutely. I'll be honest with you. Like I said,
trolling is fun.
I've become way more savage ever since Jordan was born, and I'm really, really enjoying it. And it's not even in that world and in that sense. Even with even say with music, I've always in the past been a people pleaser. Like I'm like, oh, I actually want this, or I feel this, or I did a collab recently and it was all good. Like he's an absolute legend. I won't say who, but we did a collab and he asked if the song was a bit too long and if he could cull some of my verse off. Usually I'd go, I don't want him to, but yeah, all right, man, no worries. Because I don't like conflict. There's something inside me. I'm quite an anxious person as well, so I don't like conflict. So I would do anything to avoid it before. Now it's like, no, this is what you want. And you're allowed to say that. There's no guilt that needs to be attached to saying what you want. I was like, actually, man, like I really like that part of my verse, and I'd appreciate if we kept that in there. No worries, bro. I just thought it was worth an ask. And I agree. So it's and I'm getting rewarded for being straight out and being not. I don't think savage is the word, because my delivery is never savage. It's just factual. It's assertiveness. Yeah. I've become much more assertive in saying, nah, actually, man, I didn't appreciate what you just said, or nah, I don't want to do that tonight.
I think we're on a very, very similar path wavelength at the moment, because
it's liberating, man.
Even and Delby would have noticed this like you've been complaining about your back, and even like normally I'd be like, fuck, how can we help fix it and stuff like that, suggest things, and I just straight up said, you fucking, what do you expect? Yeah. I wasn't like an asshole to him, but I just said...
He kicked me in the back.
Like, of course. I went, you fucking idiot. I just said, what do you expect, bro?
You know how hard I kick.
Yeah. And he knows-ish what can help make it feel better.
Yeah.
So unless he does it. But it's not him. I've been saying this with everyone. Mm-hmm. If I don't want to do something, no.
Well, the other thing is
if I like it, yes.
I think in the past I used to avoid awkward conversations that, might feel a little hairy and prickly, because in the moment it does make me feel a bit anxious.
Try talking to a whole Italian family. Very hairy, very prickly.
And also very passionate. Yeah. But I'm open to having these awkward conversations now, because you have one and then you see, oh, that was actually extremely liberating.
It doesn't go as bad as you think.
And if anything, even if it does, there's always a part on the end of it where you're like, oh, I'm glad we spoke about this, man. Hey, let's and this was dope. And then you both know where you stand. And then guess what? If they don't accept that, and it
you can move on,
blows up, you might cool. This friendship isn't worth.
I did see this beautiful, and we just ragged on shorts and reels the other before, but I did see this beautiful reel last night where this guy just said, basically, I'm going to have to let you go with love. You're not fulfilling me. You're dragging me down. Yeah. I send you all the best and all the love, but your energy is not what I need at the moment, and I'm gonna have to send you on with love. And it was just this beautiful way of like, we're
beautiful way of breaking someone's heart.
It was a beautiful way of parting ways and saying, look, I really want to help you, but I can't keep doing this anymore. I send you with love. I unshackle all of our ties spiritually and also physically. And
delivery is everything, right? Like I've always said, you can say anything to anybody depending on how you say it, and I would love to become a master at that, because I think
Aaron,
going back to what you were saying,
cunt. No, that was still a bit cunty.
Oh yeah.
Like the words you choose are more important than anything, because I forgot what it was. I fell down the rabbit hole of this. YouTube page once. I forget what it's called. It's like Charisma College or something, and it's like how to be the most how to garner the most attention in a room, or how to
Hustlers University, wasn't it? Like Andrew Tate.
I promise it wasn't. But it was. Do you know what's funny? I walked out of the shops the other day, and there was like a whole bunch of 14-year-olds standing around. I didn't have my hat on. It's just like a bald head with a beard, and the head is Andrew Tate.
Like, just don't get the glasses.
I'm gonna go get my Bugatti.
Fuck that! His voice is weird as well. Hey,
yeah.
What's that?
I think it's because
he's English and American.
Yeah, he was American, but moved to England and grew up in England. And it's at first I thought he was putting it on, but his brother speaks the exact same way.
Yeah. So you're saying that you're watching a charismatic person?
Oh yeah, and they were just saying that having it's like how to have tough conversations, or and he uses Joe Rogan as a lot of examples as well, because Joe's very good at doing that. He's very good at navigating through a tough conversation, not getting emotionally driven in the moment.
Because he's autistic, I think.
And do you reckon?
100%.
Joe Rogan.
He's definitely got traits, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, he'll ignore jokes completely, not pick up on the jokes.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't interest him,
He just goes playing
he'll
face.
just go, and he'll go, look at this animal ripping apart this rabbit.
Yeah.
It sounds
Cuban
like
was-
me every time.
Yeah.
We spit.
Dan was the biggest one here.
Yeah.
He got it more than anyone. You always say someone else has it.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Daniel,
Delby.
yeah.
Nah.
That's why he says it about
Hey,
other
you don't
people.
say that.
He always says it about someone else. But he's the one with it.
Yeah.
But I also think I don't think he never fakes anything. So
Yeah.
if you've said a joke and he doesn't find it funny, he's not going to give you a laugh.
Yeah.
If
If you want to go down a funny rabbit hole, go type in Joe Rogan not getting jokes, and people will do like real funny jokes, and he'll try and explain why what they've said's not right, and they're like, it was a joke, Joe.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Maybe.
get every single time you've said a pun or a joke on this podcast, and
Stitch
no
them
one said
together.
nothing.
No,
and
that's
they just
different.
kept talking.
That's different. That's different.
But yeah, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so-
well, Jehmal was telling us about this, and I don't know if it's the way what you're talking about. So Jehmal, our usual producer. Sorry, Jamie, you're doing a fucking ripper job
Jamie
today.
and Jehmal.
So Jehmal was telling me about the way you are and the character you play and the way you hold yourself is part of your delivery, is part of the person you are. So if you want to be this sort of... Oh, shit. Sorry. My mic's fucked up here. If you want to be this sort of like famous actor, you can be this famous actor. You have to frame yourself that way. You have to carry yourself that way. And
Body language is
he
massive.
said Madonna used to be able to do it like this. It was like magic. And she'd walk around the streets, no one would know who she is. And then she would change her frame. Her friend would film it on her phone. She'd change her frame, the way she'd carry herself, and everyone goes, Madonna, and run over and go start like seeing her.
Oh,
And
I did that. Harvey Weinstein. He got his dick out. I was like, Harvey, I recognise that fungal disease.
did we just talk about this? Do you know how many times I have to...
It's a pretty autistic thing to say, Delby.
Hey, you don't say that.
Autistic.
You don't say that.
But that's sort
No,
of...
but it's funny you say that, because in this Charisma University, I promise it's not hustlers, but they do say
Hustlers.
something like that body language is massive, and they use clips of examples where, so I think one of the examples that he used was the Tate and Piers Morgan interview, and he's talking about how with the listening is a massive thing. Like, these things are really important in conversation, and these things that kind of they're like embedded into a conversation without being at if you get what I mean. So they're underpinning
What were you saying?
the kind of conversation that you're having. And so I forget what he says. So it becomes a little bit oppositional. That's right. And then Pierce is kind of coming at him, and Andrew says, Pierce, I hear you, I understand. And his whole demeanor relaxes, because before that he was like that, and then you see him go like that and kind of relax. And that in a awkward and prickly and hairy conversation, just saying that before you say what you're going to say, like, I hear you, but people just want to be heard for the most part. People want to know, in this conversation, is it a two-way conversation? Because a lot of the time people, and that's another thing I'm working on, is I'm very... In the past, I cut people off because I'm so into what I want to say, and it's a form of narcissism. It's like, what I have to say is so important right here, right
Listening
now. I'm
to
literally
respond.
I'm going to let you finish, but what I want to say first.
listening to
Listening
to respond.
You're listening to respond. You're not listening to understand. You're not listening to hear. And I'm really trying to do that because, going back to what I said before, I want to go into every conversation, no matter who it's with, and go. I think it's one of the rules in Jordan Peterson's book is treat everybody like there's something you can learn from them. I don't think that's verbatim what it is, but it's along them lines. And it's saying there's people out there, and that's from an extremely intelligent man. And if he can go into every conversation going, there's potentially something I can learn from this person, because not everything is from a book. A lot of things are, in accordance with people's, what would you call it, life experience. So, and nobody's lived the exact same life. So God knows what I don't think a person's awareness and intelligence in life should be only based on their degrees or, are they a lawyer? Oh, they're a lawyer. They're automatically really smart. It's like, no, they studied law for 4 years. While somebody else might have traveled the world for 4 years and have a whole lot more to offer to a conversation and be things, they've gone to, countries that have put things into perspective for them. They've, hiked through the mountains and seen these little villages and spent time with people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So all these things kind of, are contributing factors to a person's intelligence and how they maneuver and navigate through the world. It's not just, oh, here's a law degree. Oh my God, this person's a doctor, and they must be smart.
Could have walked through Australia for 3.5 years with 6 camels and learned fuckloads. Like John Elliott learned so much shit you couldn't learn in a book. That's one of my biggest aims. My goal, I've literally got it on my 2023 goals, is to interrupt people less. That's fucking hard, man.
It is very hard.
It's because your brain works really quick, and if you think of a joke or something, especially in a podcast,
timing.
Yeah. And then I think
jokes are different because you kind of have if you have a good joke and you leave it, and then it's like, oh, if I made it now, hey, what you were saying before,
But damn, didn't I get some amazing clips last week? Some just nice
no interruptions.
No, but
I wasn't here.
But because
timing is everything, but also you don't want to. I'm like holding back if you're making great points. I'm like, okay, I'll leave that joke.
Yeah.
Like even earlier, you said you got panicked that your kid hadn't got up for a feed at 11:40, and they were flat down. You tap on the back, check they were breathing. And I was going to say, man, that's what my mates do with me on a Saturday night. Like I'm passed out, they check out, I'm breathing. I'm like sitting on it, and the timing was wrong. Yeah. And the whole reason I brought this convo up is just so I could get that one out. And you just got to let it go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and like I'm trying to get better at what you were just talking about, that listening to respond, especially as a podcast host. Like I should be listening to every word you say, but you might say one thing and I notice it. I pick up on it for myself. I'll be like, or Delby will say something and I'll be like, I was already going to say this, so I'm just committing to saying it. Whereas I should have listened to the whole thing of what they're saying because I might have picked up on something
Branch is going to work on listening to respond. Oh, fuck, is that what you were just saying?
But the whole, again, going back to the red card thing is... Because now I'm so cognizant of the fact that that's something that I'm working on. I'm noticing my dad is terrible for it. And if he keeps doing it, I'm going to punch him in the fucking throat because he's really bad. And to the point where the conversation doesn't go anywhere because either he interrupts with something I'm about to say and it's like, wait a minute, if you let me finish what I was about to say, what you just said is completely redundant and irrelevant.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. Sometimes I would interrupt people and they'd be like, I'm getting there, or I'd interrupt people and I've completely misconstrued where the conversation's going, and then I look silly. So I've noticed it in other people a lot more. My Indian side of the family are all terrible for it. And I'm assuming Italians would be too, not being racist, but because we're so passionate in what we're saying and we're so connected to what we're saying, we just want the person to hear it right here, right now. So it is very difficult for me to be able to kind of harness that and pull it back. And the other thing is, I feel like I'm working on way too many things. My partner's like, fuck, you're hard on yourself. I am very hard on myself. I have set a very high standard for myself in everything. And I could go shoot hoops later and hit 50% of the shots, which is good in any world, but I won't focus on the 50 that I hit. I'll be focusing on the 50 that I miss, and I walk out pissed off. And I'm like, fucking hell, I just want to be a hell good shooter, but it's good. I hold myself to a high standard, but I need to be careful because that automatically kind of spreads out into my expectations of other people.
Yeah.
People are like, you have such high standards of people. It's like, but I hold myself to that level of accountability. It automatically transpires and goes out.
I'm doing that. I'm being that disciplined. Why aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I expect better of myself. I expect better of you.
I had this exact conversation this morning with a psych that I'm going to get my ADD meds.
Yeah.
And he was like, I bet you that you're this kind of person where you could do a 5-minute set of comedy and one joke won't go the way you wanted it to. You won't get the response. And afterwards, you'll just focus on that.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I think it makes me better. Well, he goes, it doesn't matter if it's a good or a bad trait. If you think that it improves you by being hard on yourself and you get better from it, then it's a positive.
Yeah. Okay,
There's a name for it, but I can't remember what he said. I'll have to ask him again.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Yeah. Look, see, my brother's the same, but my brother's just quit basketball because of it. Because his friends, a couple of his friends are really good. He's 6'4" and he's 14. Fucking piece of shit. Wow. And so he's like towers over me, and he has and he's a good shooter for a 6'4" guy.
I heard that the DeVazes bring guns to school, so could be a great shooter.
That is a callback to episode first time you ever came on the podcast. Holy shit!
That was at your house.
Your ADD is so high functioning.
But he
autistic
holds himself in such a high standard that he gets that seat. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm figuring out how to tailor it to, is it productive or is it destructive kind of thing. So I think I'm, leaning more towards it is bringing the best out of me these days. As long as when I leave the courts, I don't hold on to it for too long. We used to play, and if we lost the game and I had a bad game, it would keep me up all night. I wouldn't sleep just remembering certain plays where I should have done something better. I can't change it now, but I'm still kind of stewing on it. So I have become a lot better at doing that and at being able to kind of differentiate between, wait a minute, that's helpful and that's harmful. Like, let's not do that, let's do that. So in holding myself to a standard, I think I'm in a good place. I still have some improving to do, and it's about that, like you said, it's your perspective on it. If I felt like it wasn't doing me any good, and my self-esteem was low as a result of it, I'd be like, okay, cool. I guess we need to change the way we're operating here. So I said to my brother, I said, if you want to use that for fuel and you want to have high expectations for yourself, and giving yourself tough love pulls the best out of you, then do it. But if you're going to quit and be a fucking loser and chuck in the towel because it's not going the way you expected and you're not improving at the speed that you wanted to. Kevin Durant has a saying where he's like, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And it's like, so, it's just about persistence and consistency and just that I refuse to give up mentality, that what Kobe Bryant calls the Mamba mentality. Cool, you're not as good as your friends, get up 2 hours before your friends. Leave the gym 2 hours after your friends. Like that needs to be your motivator, not the thing that kills it.
It's definitely the mindset and change of lifestyle I've made for me for the
everything.
last, because I started doing that, I reckon, about 4 or 5 years ago, hence why I started building the business, and I was very motivated. I was in that style. For whatever reason, it started waning. The last couple of months have been very much like that, very disciplined, very much I want to get it, very much work harder than everyone else in the gym, work harder than everyone else in the fucking podcast scene or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah. Do it.
Dope.
Parenting, work harder at being the best parent. And then the other day, I had to check myself and say, "Fuck! Don't judge yourself if you feel like you're not doing enough."
That's the balance, yeah.
Yeah, because there was one day where I think from memory I spoke about this last week on the podcast when I did a shitload with Scotty all day. I was like, I'm a fucking good dad. I know I am. Yeah. And I did a lot with Scotty that day, and I was judging myself for the 3 or 4 moments where I was on my phone for half an hour. Instead of going, and when I say I'm on my phone, it's a Tuesday. I'm actually working on my phone.
Right. Okay.
So, and I was judging myself for those moments. Instead of judging myself for those moments, go, fuck, you just spent 7 out of 9 hours playing with you and being a fucking good dad and being present and actually being part of her life.
That's a lot more than
That's a fucking lot more than.
And to work harder to beat 50% of your competition to be the best parent.
Classic Delby.
Yeah. That's probably one of my best jokes for a few weeks and didn't get caught.
All right, I reckon that's enough anyway. We'll wrap it up.
I was going to just finish on asking a bit of what was the biggest change from before to after your kid now, other than being tired. You sort of hit a few points, but if you had to put it down to like one sentence.
I would say that do you know what? I considered myself an atheist before, and now I consider myself an agnostic. So an atheist believes that there's nothing, and an agnostic believes that there's something. You just can't define what it was. And the second, when he came out, and this first second that they look at you, like, there has to be something. Yeah. There can't be nothing. This is too incredible to. I'm like getting shivers saying this because just the miracle of birth itself and life coming into the world, it just shows you that there has to be something. Like, and again, this is only my perspective, but it made me switch from thinking there is nothing and everything, there's nothing deeper to what's going on, to thinking, well, and if anything, I've developed a lot more, I guess, respect and a lot more time for being open to religion. So now, before I wouldn't shun it off. If it does something for people, whatever, and if it brings out the best of you, then great. But I was kind of like, all religion sounds crazy to me because none of these are very believable stories. But I guess if religion's an attempt to explain the unexplainable, then I guess they all make sense and maybe they're all true in that sense. But it just switched my understanding from in my world and what I felt viscerally to say, I don't think that there's nothing anymore. I think there's something, but I don't think our brains were built to comprehend whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, the unknown of the unknown. We don't know what we don't know.
But then again, like I said, it made me more assertive because I care less what people think of me now. Yeah. Obviously changed my job, which I'm super happy about as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans wanted to know about the mandate and the status you had on that. Is that right, Branch?
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
the vax stuff.
Yeah.
I think
People
that
were like,
it's either way you look at it, it is a form of tyranny, and it is. Your guy's mate, he's been on here a few times. He's extremely intelligent, and
Corey White.
Man, that guy's incredible.
I got to get him on. That's why I didn't try. I didn't touch down Davos and a few things that are happening. The WEF is on at the moment. There's a lot going on. Censorship.
Just the way that he delivers stuff and how he's able to put a humorous spin on things as well. And he's also very brutal, but it's in a way, and because he's so intelligent that he knows that if ever it gets to a point where I have to kind of debate with someone or whatever, I feel like he would be very comfortable in doing so. His intelligence matched with his delivery and his humor and stuff, like he's very good. And I would hope that I don't, come across in a way. I don't want to, because in that situation specifically, I felt like everyone was doing what they thought was the best thing. And because even if you're on the other side to us, just so to be clear and straight to the point, I'm on the same side as you. I think it was fucked up, and it was a form of tyranny, and it was the government, I guess, like swinging their dick around and showing us. And to be honest with you, and I am a little bit of a conspiracy theorist in this sense, I think it was like the appetizer to something else that is coming.
Well, we're already seeing climate lockdowns being put in place for...
I think the climate thing's next, yeah.
Yeah, for 2024 in a town in Britain. I sent that to you, Delby. Hey, they've got it planned, climate lockdowns already.
And to start taxing us on our carbon footprint as well. And these are the things that people like Andrew Tate was saying, Jordan Peterson saying, and now they're going after him. And Andrew Tate, in my opinion... I've looked deep into this, and it's an unpopular opinion because people are so fucking
because they want him to be.
Well, because think about this: if you are trying to take control of a large demographic of people, society, right, and you're these people at the top trying to take control of these people, do you want the next generation that really it's probably going to affect the most? Do you want them to be empowered young men that will fight back, or do you want them to be people that are trying to figure out what gender they are? You know what I mean? Like, and do you want them to be overly sensitive and overly compassionate and stuff like that? So I think he was kind of weaponizing young boys to be, but he had a great message. He said, "Don't do fucking drugs, don't drink, don't do this. Get in the fucking gym, and stop feeling sorry for yourself." It was tough love, but it would bring the best out of the younger generation. He's not the best role model to look up to, but guess what? Neither is Nicki Minaj and fucking Cardi B for females.
Yeah.
But Wet Ass Pussy still went number one all over the world. They didn't get cancelled. If anything, it propelled them to a whole new level of stardom. Yeah. So I just think that there's something bigger going on for them to have to silence people like that. Now they're going after Jordan Peterson, who's like the nicest guy in the world, but he's painted as this horrible villain.
Yeah.
Because both of them guys are saying things like the government are going to start taxing you on your carbon footprint on the earth.
Yeah. But that close to being China.
COVID was a precursor to something else that is coming, and I really believe that. I think they were testing people's temperature, like how will people respond to things like lockdowns and stuff like that. And people showed how compliant and yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir we are. So I think they'd probably go into that next situation with a bit of confidence. And this whole Greta Thunberg thing as well.
To have a false arrest.
To have this young teenage girl as the, I don't know what you'd call
poster
it,
child,
the puppet, the poster child with her mum's hand up her ass, telling everybody what they should be saying is fucking wild. And if anybody thinks otherwise, to have how old is she now? I don't know.
20.
Is she really? Okay.
Yeah.
But to
She's 20 now.
Man, she's been around for a minute then. Yeah. But to have her as the poster child for that, because number one, she has autism. Yeah. One of your people. And then number two, she's a young...
Yeah, I don't say that.
And number two, she's a young girl. It's like, if you are to challenge her, you're this horrible person. Oh, you're going to go with a fucking young girl that's, autistic. So, I just feel I feel sorry for her. If anything, I'm definitely not coming at her.
I've got a motto for the next thing. It's they want people without agenda, not people with an agenda.
Hey, that's dope.
That's not bad,
That's a dope one. I like that.
That's not bad.
That's dope.
ADHD, baby. It's good.
But it's super something smells like shit. Something is in the air, and I think something bigger is coming.
Sorry, bro.
Shut that door. Yeah. That's my stance on it. I think it was extremely unethical, and I think it was extremely fucked up, and I think you can't ignore the facts, and the people that do want to ignore the facts are people that don't, like the people I was talking to before, the closed-minded people that aren't ready to admit that they were wrong, and the vilified people like us in a time like that. So, look, all I've seen so far is is confirmation of the things that we thought at the time when it was happening. But now that it's passed, if you were to bring it up to the people that were coming at you before and be like, yo, where's my apology? It'd be like, who gives a fuck anymore? We're allowed, you're allowed to just walk around with it now.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh man, it broke my heart just quickly before we get off.
No, you're fine.
Questlove from The Roots, he's like the drummer.
Oh no, I see.
You saw that?
No plan, whatever. What is it?
So Pfizer are like, you can tell they're paying all these artists now. I think I was saying it last time I was here. They were trying to do it in WA and in Australia, but they're on a global scale now. So like Pink,
I saw that.
Jimmy Fallon. Like,
what's the message?
All these.
Well,
they're just like they're Pfizer. Pfizer. What would you call them?
Shills.
Yeah, basically.
Puppets,
And they're doing these.
spokespeople.
The funny thing is they do these posts and it says in partnership with Pfizer, whatever.
Yeah.
And no comments allowed. Every single one of them.
No
so
comments
Pfizer would
allowed.
have said don't.
And
allow for
Questlove
comments.
did it, and I was
And it
the
broke the
same.
Questlove one broke my. I don't give a fuck about Pink and Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
But when Questlove did, I was like, yo, what are you doing?
Fucking love
What are
Questlove.
you doing? I lost love for Questlove.
Yeah.
Now he's just Quest.
Less love for
Questlove.
Questlove.
Less love for Questlove, indeed.
Yeah, that was my stance.
But he's on fucking Jimmy Fallon.
and do you know what the worst part of it is?
He's rich, bitch.
Is I was, and I'll be open about this as well. I might have been a little bit. People would assume that because I'm so overtly, open to speaking about this, and I have such a strong stance on it. Number one, there was no other rapper. Like none of my peers, none of them spoke about it, and I know that a lot of them felt the way I do. So this whole new album I'm doing, like I'm throwing shots. I'm like calling them pussies and shit because everybody was so scared to lose followers, and I wasn't. And do you know what's funny is that these dumb motherfuckers don't even know I gained followers because of that shit.
Yeah.
I was losing some, gaining some. Like it was just a push and pull. But that's number one.
Yeah, but you vetted out the shit.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't want them following me anyway. But the other part is that what was I saying?
Your album, Throwing Shots.
Oh yeah, so that's the rapper thing. And the other part is that I think I've said it on here last time. I ended up I had to. I had to.
Yeah,
I had two shots. So and again, that was just so I was so scared that and looking back at it now, I'm like, I wish I'd have just held on for, 6 to 8 months until they just went, oh, okay, look, we're not going to do this anymore.
And the worst thing is now, you are 4 times more likely than me.
Stand on a positive.
Yep, to have a severe reaction or die from COVID now.
Do you know what?
How crazy is that?
The silver lining is, I think I was saying on the way up here, is that I've been extremely health conscious the last, I'd say 2 months. I don't know if that doesn't sound like long, but I'm saying like, actually that's a lie because it was the Christmas period. So I'd say about a month where just not, so now I don't drink, smoke, nothing. Like I got prescribed weed and I'm not smoking it. Cut the cigarettes out, cut the booze out.
No guns?
No guns anymore.
No guns.
I'm just these guns. But I'm going to the gym every day. I'm doing something physical every day. I'm eating right. I'm meditating every day. So the silver lining to that whole thing was it made me realize that we put way too much, I guess, trust in the pharmaceutical system, which has been proven to be super unethical. And we put so much trust in these other people to
fix you.
Or just provide us with health. And then all the decisions we make for ourselves are shit ones. Like, cool, I'm smoking cigarettes and I'm saying I refuse this vax because it's going to be bad for my health. You know, and they used that against me. And do you know what? They were right.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, you're right. So I started making decisions from I'm in control of my health. I'm accountable for my health. This is my body. This is my vehicle in which to navigate through life. So I'm going to start taking care of this. And again, that was the other thing with my son as well. That's probably the biggest change, actually. It made me go, I don't want him to grow up watching me do things that are unhealthy because we lead by example. So I want him to see his mum and dad go to the gym all the time. They do something physical. They get out and get in the sun. They go down the beach. They're not always at the pub, taking their kids to the pub and giving them colouring books. Yep. I want to be present and I want to be as healthy. I want to be a shining light for my son to look. I want to be a great role model, basically, in a nutshell. Yeah.
Did we just become best friends?
Sounds exactly what Branchy's been saying lately.
We've just been saying it.
And in other news, just to end on a positive.
Well, that was positive, but yeah, double down.
They found Carol Baskin's husband alive.
Bullshit. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Carol Baskin?
Yeah.
Really?
A year, according to Carol Baskin. They've said, she said that the...
we need to go down this rabbit hole.
The CIA, whatever,
not now.
Yeah, CIA or whatever, have found him alive and well, living where he went down to live at.
Was he with Tupac?
Boys, wrap it up.
Yeah,
mate.
right. Jamie, our producer's got to go. But thanks
so
for
much for
coming on,
having me.
mate. That was fucking
Always a
awesome.
pleasure.